Today we're going to be looking at budget flashlights, specifically the V1 Pro from J5 Tactical. Stay tuned, the review is next. Alright guys, welcome back, and today again we are taking a look at the V1 Pro from J5 Tactical. Now I do want to say that this is considered to be a budget-friendly tactical flashlight. So let's go ahead and get into some of the specifics and take a closer look at this guy right now. And here it is in all its sexiness. You know you love it. This light comes with 3 modes. It comes with a high mode, a low mode, and a strobe mode, and it is made from an aluminum alloy. Now they do say that this can withstand a 9-foot drop, and while that's not terribly too high, it is enough to ruin a lot of flashlights. So I am pleased to see that it can take some kind of a jolt. This has an IPX4 rating, which means it can withstand splashes of water from any direction for 5 minutes or so. Sounds crazy, but what that translates to is if you drop this in a puddle and you picked it up and shook it off, you should be just fine. Or if you're caught with getting it wet from rain and you spill something on it, you should be just fine. It's just not made to be dropped into a stream and left there for half an hour or so and expect it to work. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the overall length of this unit. Now again, from the bezel, the front bezel here, you can see the crowning. From this end to here, we are looking at 4 inches when it is in the floodlight setting, which means this is pushed in as far as it can go. Along the back side, we're talking about 7/8 of an inch. And that is across, and across the front we are looking at 1 1/8 inch across the front. Now when we extend this out to give us the spotlight effect, it gives us 4 1/8 inches. So it doesn't extend the length of it out too much, so that's a good plus. I'm glad it doesn't telescope out way out and then it becomes kind of awkward to handle. So very good, 4 inches, 4 1/4 inches. All right, let's talk a little bit about the weight of the unit itself. Now get a little closer, you can take a look at it while I read this exciting information to you guys. The weight is 2.53 ounces or 73 grams without the battery, and with the battery you're looking at 3.17 ounces or 91 grams. Now what they do say is it can accept any AA battery. It can accept the alkalines, you can take rechargeables, the lithium ions, and even the 14500 batteries. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how you focus the light. There are a lot of flashlights where you have to twist the front bezel or you have to do something, and J5 Tactical's made it very simple. All you're doing is just pulling it out and extending it. That will give you your spotlight feature. And when you push it back in, retract the bezel head, that will give you the wide floodlight setting. Also, I want to note that this clip right here is very, very good, but it is also very, very tight. Almost to the point where it's too tight, but it's a give or take. Do you want the belt clip to be very tight and stay secure on your body, or do you want it to be loose or a little bit more loose and may possibly risk losing the flashlight? As you can see, like, the tension on that is quite a bit, but when your clothes are pinched between that tight clip and those cooling fins, it really bites into your clothing. And on some instances I really like that, and on others I feel like over time the cooling fins would cause a lot of premature wear on your clothing. So it's something to consider, but do note that it is a very, very tight clip. I do have to say though, I'm glad that J5 Tactical offers a 100% guarantee. If you have any problems with their light within the first year, they replace it, or they will give you a refund if you're not pleased with it. So that's always a bonus. So you can try this light risk-free. Now again, I'm telling you this now, but if they change their policy and you're watching this video later, you know, that kind of stuff happens. But as of right now, it's listed on their website, it's listed on their Amazon page that it's a worry-free 100% customer service satisfaction. So good job, guys. Keep it up. Don't change that. Another thing I want to mention is the mode setting. So when you have it on high and you go to low and to strobe, I want to show you, you don't have to fully click the light off and on. And I'll shine this kind of at myself so you can see. Really, here, I'll do this to create more of a spot so you can see it better. So what you do is you just halfway push this button, and now we're on like the high setting, we're on low, we're on strobe. And you just toggle between by just barely tapping this button here. But you can click it on and off. It's on high, off, low, off, strobe, off. And it cycles through the different modes that way. So I do like that there's a little versatility, and you can do that kind of silently if you needed to. All right, so I wanted to point out something on the inside of this, and we're going to have to take it down to the drum so that we can do that. I want to show you something that I discovered on the inside of this light that is worth noting. All right, guys, we are here on the drum top now, looking at, again, the J5 Tactical V1 Pro. Like I said, I wanted to show something that I had discovered when investigating this light. Now, if you take this front bezel off, it does have nice threads on it, so I'll move that out of the way. Maybe it'll focus here. It does have nice threads in there. And so here's your O-ring and your lens itself. Now, do note that this lens is plastic. This is where all the magic happens. Oh yes, indeed, this is where all the magic happens. So it is a plastic lens. It's not glass. I know some people want to know if it's a glass lens, but like I said, it is plastic. All right, so that's a close look at the LED. And do note that the reflector inside is a white plastic. There is no chrome, there's no mirror finish. It's almost like a flat white color. So there is a little bit of a bevel to it, but not much. For the most part, it is pretty flat in there. And I'm hoping that comes out on camera pretty well. You can see the details of that, because I cannot see my LCD all that well. But it's something to take note. A lot of times when you buy budget flashlights, they have to cut some corners somewhere, and they've done that here. All of this that the LED is sitting in is all of this is plastic. So there's no metal through here. Again, putting this back together, I'm going to drop in the concave lens, put the O-ring on top, and thread on the front bezel, the attack bezel. All right, I'm ready for combat. But I just thought that was worth noting. I wanted to take that to the drum so that you guys could get a better look at that. All right guys, I want to go ahead and fast forward to the night test and let you guys see how it performs at night. Just so you know, and I've said it in other videos, my camera does not do the best job at night photography or night videography. It has a lot of issues with focus, and so I hope you guys don't beat me up too bad on that. Something I also want to note is this light, as you can see on my hand, this is the bright setting, but when I go to the low setting, it has like a strobing effect. I don't know if that's something in the light itself that I'm not seeing, or if it's just the LED camera trying to compensate, but I can assure you that in the real world I don't see that strobing. It's only when I see it on camera. I did go back and look at the final edits on that particular night portion, and for some reason or another it stays on there. So just be assured that that flickering that you're going to see on my face and on my hands, it does not look like that in real life. Let's go ahead, bring in the night video. All right guys, you were looking at the infamous night test. Again, we're looking at the V1 Pro from J5 Tactical, and what you're seeing now is the low setting of the light. Now I will notate somewhere if I do find out what the lumens is supposed to be on this light. Now looking at my LED, I do see some flickering on my hands and on my face. It does look like it's flickering. If that doesn't come out in the video, great, but it looks like it's strobing to me, so it's a little weird. I don't really sure what's causing that. Again, I don't know what the low setting is on this. It just says high and low. High lumens and low lumens is kind of what they say on their website. They don't really specify, but again, what you're looking at is the low setting. This post, you guys note this post from my Olight video. If you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. But this is about 6 feet from the camera. I can't see it on my LCD, but you can see it here in the real world. It is dim, but it's definitely visible. Beyond that, I can't see too well with the low setting on this light, so I'm going to go ahead and switch it over to the high setting. Now also keep in mind, this is the wide flood. I'm not using the spot flood, I'm using the wide angle, so do keep that in mind. So I am going to switch it over now to the high setting and see what we look like there. This is the high setting and the flickering is gone. I don't see the flashing and flickering on my face or on my hands with this setting, so maybe the low setting was a little too dim and the camera was having a hard time compensating for that. I don't know. I'll have to see how that comes out in the final edit. You can probably see this post a lot better. I can see it here. I can see the first tree and the second tree pretty decent behind me. Some of the ground cover is pretty decent as well. Not as good as the Olight did in its testing, but still it's pretty decent for what it is. Again, this is on the wide, very broad spectrum where the light is all the way down and not into a spot mode, just to be clear on that. So I will go ahead and go into a strobe setting and let you guys see how that, now that will come out as high power, but in strobe. All right, this is the strobe setting, and I guess you don't see too many people doing a strobe test with the strobe right in their face. But I have to say that the light isn't as intense in this setting as I thought it would be. Therefore, I'm looking at my LCD right now while this light is shining in my face. Now, it is bright, don't get me wrong, but it is not so bright that I can't see what's immediately around it. You can see, again, the post. I can see the first and second tree and the ground cover as well, but it is in a strobing fashion, so it is supposed to be more of a tactical aspect. Now, I am close to a highway. I do have some vehicles passing by, and I don't want to draw too much attention, so I'm going to stop the strobe feature right here. This is the low setting. You may be able to see my face here a little bit, but this is the low setting with it fully focused into its tightest focal point. I don't know if that shows up well in camera or not, but I can see probably 30-40 feet back on the low setting before the brush and stuff starts to actually obstruct how far back I can see. But the focal point is very, very narrow, I have to say. The ground right in front of me is dark. Everything outside of maybe a 2-foot window or a 1.5-foot window is very dark. It is a very concentrated, straight beam of light shining off into the woods there. So hopefully you can see that and it doesn't look like you're just watching a dark video, but I do want to demonstrate what it looks like. We're now going to go over to the high setting focal, full focus. This is the high setting. You can see I'm actually getting some reflective light from my hand onto my face. But anything outside, I'll try to do this to show you, anything outside of that range, you can see my hands kind of migrating like over here. And a little bit right there. But anything outside of that range is very, very hard to see. It is very concentrated. Maybe I can use my hands to illustrate that, but it's very, very concentrated. It's a very focused hotspot. So I do want to let you guys see it. You can see my face here a little bit from what I can see in the LCD. It may come up a little better on the final edit, but I don't want to edit how this looks too much. I want it to be as true to the real world as possible. But again, I can see back into the woods there, probably a good 100 feet or more. But again, the focal point is very, very tight. So I'll shoot some video to the ground as well. I don't want to do this on strobe because it would be blinding. You have to really be like straight on with the light like this for it to be real intense. But if I move off to the side like this, it's not quite so bad. Right here it's blinding, right here not so much. So it's very, very narrow. Now what I want to do is talk a little bit about this light compared to some other lights that are similar to it. Again, this light is claimed to be a 300 lumen light, and there is a lot of controversy over that. I have to be honest in my reviews. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if it's a true 300 lumen light or not, but I want to show you some other lights in comparison. Okay, so again, we're going to cut this one on. This is the high mode, and I'll bring the focal point down a little bit so that everything's in camera. Now I'm going to bring in this light. I think this is obsolete now, but this is an old LED called the Coleman Max. Now the Coleman Max is a 144 lumen light. You can see where the Coleman is the one moving, and the one that's moving now is the 300 lumen V1 Pro. That's why some people are complaining that they don't think it's a true. Now I'll bring the focal point down more, and they're side by. This is as tight as it'll go, is more intensified or magnified of a light as it can be, and they're very similar. There is two settings on this, a 5 lumen and a 180 lumen. Here's the 180 lumen. Now they don't have a hotspot. Olight does a very good job at trying to eliminate the hotspot. So what I'm going to do is back out the J5, to where they're about the same focal point. And you can see the one on the left is the Olight 180 lumens. The one on the right is a 300 lumen J5 Tactical. And you see how close those are when you open it up to about the same focal point. 180, 300. The EDC that I've been carrying for a long time, I think this is even discontinued now, but this is a 511 TPT L2. This is 251 lumens. 251 lumens, 300 lumens at the most intensity. You can see it slightly over, but the 511 doesn't have that bright hot spot. There is a hot spot there, but it's not as intense of a hot spot as the J5 Tactical, and you can kind of see how they look. Follow this spot. This is again the J5 Tactical. I hate to kind of keep rehashing this, but I want to make sure that people are understanding what I'm doing. And over here, this is the 511 251 lumens. They're very close. They almost blend together in the middle. If I move them together, you would probably get confused what's what until you separated them, because you know that this one focuses tighter than the 511 does. So I'm about the same distance. One of the things that I kind of dread bringing up about this light is the question of using this as a tactical light. J5 Tactical, it has a tactical kind of a mean look to it, I have to say, which I do like that. I like the aggressive look for this particular flashlight. But would I use this as a tactical light? No, I would not. At least not a weapons mounted tactical light. And I'll tell you why. First of all, when you're doing the testing on this, when I was doing testing on this, if I was looking straight at the center point of this flashlight, it's bright, it's blinding, it's intense. But if I went anywhere left or right of that center point, I could see around the light. And granted, there's a hot spot there, but if you're looking at me straight on like this, you couldn't see me. But if the light was here, you would be able to see me here. You could see my silhouette. You might not be able to see me as clear as you do here on video, but you could see me. I would illustrate that for you, but I don't think that's really going to come out in daytime all that well. You know, here we have, we could try it. So I'm straight on with the camera. You really can't see me all that well. But if I move it off to the side just a touch, you see how now you can see me? It's bright. And I'm still over my face, but I'm not directly into the lens of the camera. And this is zoomed in. If I was to go flood, and I have it right on my nose, daggone Rudolph. Well, not exactly Rudolph, but you see how you can see me? So the problem with that is, if you have this mounted on a firearm or a rifle, like an AR platform, something, and this sticks out, and you're moving it around, because this slides, if you were to bump a tree branch, or you were to bump a wall or something, hit this light, whether you mount your tactical light on the side or the bottom, however you mount it, if you was to bump this and you went from a spot to a flood, you lost your advantage. You can be seen. This is not serving you any good. And what you have to do at that point is take your hand and extend it back out. And sometimes that could cost you everything. So no, I would not use this as a weapons mounted light. Maybe if it was in your hand and using it as a striking device, that would be a little different. All right, guys, I think that pretty much sums up everything I have for the V1 Pro from J5 Tactical. Again, not to beat a dead horse, but this is very good for general use, you know, around the house, in your vehicle. This is a good budget flashlight for a bug out bag, somebody who's just getting into prepping and survival and they're wanting a decent flashlight, because it is a decent flashlight. I would not risk my life with this flashlight to be used in a tactical weapons mounted light. Like I said before, it's just, there's just too much that can go wrong with that. Guys, I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked the presentation. If you would, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. I am on Instagram as well. I'll put the Instagram link below and also notate it down here somewhere. Hit that bell for future notifications so you don't miss other videos coming out. And until next time, be safe. Thanks for watching.
Boy, I sure like the way you talk.
No more pictures, please. You're just too much. You're too much, guys. Too many pictures. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Oh, guys, you're too kind. You're too kind. Thank you. No more pictures. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yes, thank you. Did you like the video?